This podcast is brought to you by the Podtower, hosted by the Watchtower database. Visit youtube.com/thepodtower for informative, hilarious DC animation-themed podcasts and live streams every week. And check out the Watchtower database for DCAU video essays, timelines, fan theories, and more. And please, enjoy the show. Hi.
Hi.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready for the podcast.
Oh, me too. Me too. Okay.
I'm a dog. Yeah.
I got like 2.5 hours before I got to leave for a board meeting.
I know that.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Okay, ready?
Don't drink. Don't drink.
Welcome back to Jump on the Bat-Wagon. I'm James. That's Brian.
I'm Brian.
Okay, we're watching The Terrible Trio. Be right back. What if, though? What if?
I mean, yeah.
What you know what this is, right?
Me?
At this point, yeah.
I know what this is.
What happens in The Terrible Trio?
Am I already giving the synopsis?
I don't. Yeah. Tell me what happens in your own words. Let's just see how close you get. Yeah.
You know the see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil monkeys?
Yeah, the monkeys.
It's them.
Oh, uh-huh.
The end. Okay. I guess I have some time. I'm going to take dogs for a walk.
Okay, sounds good.
After.
What do I do now?
You say,
do I just roll with it?
Hello, dear listener. Welcome to Jump on the Bat-Wagon, the podcast where I show everybody. Wait, no. Somebody? No, some people.
You.
Me.
I thought you wanted this to go quickly.
Yeah, man, go for it.
All right. I'm James. It's Brian. Let's go watch The Terrible Trio. I'm here to show my good buddy Brian the entire DC animated universe from start to finish for the very first time, so that he may view these shows the way human beings experienced them in the far gone days of the 1900s. We recommend you watch today's DCAU episode before listening to this podcast to get the full experience out of our discussion. I can't make you do that, but I can make Brian do that.
He makes me do it every week.
Every week. Every single week. At the time of this recording, 2:59 p.m., Batman the Animated Series is streaming on not HBO Max, just plain old Max. Who knows
on the
what
side of my dog.
company? Yeah, just your dog. Streaming on your dog at all times. Just got to pull the fur back. There's some Batman in there somewhere. And available on DVD and Blu-ray. Yeah, today we're watching The Terrible Trio. I'll just tell you right off the bat, this is Bruce Timm's least favorite episode. I think I mentioned that at some point. And everyone's been thinking toward this one. They've been commenting and such, being like, oh, God, it's this episode. Oh, I hate this episode so much. So you're going to have a grand old time. I think you'll love it. I'm
going to love it.
The past.
Top 10, baby.
Yeah. I was going to say we haven't touched the top 10 in a little bit. Maybe this will do it. Maybe this will be the one.
I am so looking forward to this.
Yes. This aired Monday, September 11th. Oh, no. 1995. Maybe that explains it. They knew. 4 p.m. on Fox.
It's just an unlucky day.
The Terrible Trio and something else. That's the worst. Do we say that? I don't think we can say that. We skipped almost 10 months from the last actual episode of the show.
Well, how long has it been since the not episode?
July 1995 for the last episode game, and now it's
July.
Now it's September 1995. Yep.
Okay, so we're skipping a month since the game.
No, we're skipping 2 months since the game. Yeah.
July?
Yeah, to September.
To September?
Yeah.
Is there another month in there?
There's August in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that. You're smart.
We're skipping August.
Oh, you're saying you're skipping a month. I'm saying we're skipping ahead 2 months of time. You're saying we're skipping one total month. We're saying the same thing, but differently.
With our communication skills, I think we could save the world. Move over, egg.
I was gonna say when Ted was complimenting, like, oh, I was worried when we were filming in the courtroom and you didn't have a storyboard, but you and Brian just had like, you know, a rapport. You had the language down, the communication was there, and you were just bouncing off each other.
Ever.
Just like when we talk about how many months there are between July and September. This is the 71st produced episode. This was produced right after House and Garden and right before Harlequinade, and aired 81st for some god-awful, never understandable reason. When we get to like the other shows, this will happen once in a while. Like, oh, weirdly, this episode was later. Not like every single episode is in the wrong order. I really don't know. I'll never know. This is Story by Alan Burnett and Michael Reeves, with teleplay by Michael Reeves. Alan Burnett was a producer on the show and wrote the story for Two-Face, Mudslide, Read My Lips, Time Out of Joint, and Riddler's Reform. And Michael Reeves wrote the story for Pretty Poison, Feet of Clay, Perchance to Dream, Twiger, Read My Lips, which was with Alan Burnett, Sideshow, Second Chance, and he also wrote Vendetta, I Am the Night, Avatar, and Batgirl Returns. Avatar, The Blue People, directed by Frank Parr, who we haven't had for a little while.
Yeah, that's true.
Who I just recently found out it's just pronounced Parr, but that's so boring. Why wouldn't you pronounce it Parr like we do? That's the cool way to do it.
That is the cool way to do it.
Everyone likes it a lot.
Everyone, especially Frank Parr.
Especially Frank Parr, who I'm sure is listening. Music by Shirley Walker, and animation by Jade Animation, who previously did the ink and paint on the 2 Blue Pencil episodes, Day of the Samurai and If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? They do everything on this one, so you already can get an idea of what you're in for here.
I'm so happy.
Yep, I know.
I can't wait. This is going to be good.
The word terrible is in the title of the episode. They kind of jinx themselves. Why would they do this? Let's go watch it.
Okay.
Thanks, Kevin. Paul.
Thanks, Kevin. Awfully chummy with the help, Bruce. Do you thank the garbage man for picking up your trash?
If I happen to run into him.
Don't get Warren started, Bruce.
You know how he feels about the servants.
Gunther, Army, please. I'm just trying to protect Bruce from his baser instincts. Paul! So, this is all you do for kicks, Bruce? Charity work?
Well, I do have a nightlife. Paul! Besides, it's important to help others. It may sound corny, but hey, it's how I feel.
You must recognize that you are a superior animal, Bruce. A member of the elite. Paul! Take my Delta brothers and me. Why, we've run with the bulls.
Shot game from hot air balloons.
Killed a great white.
We've done it all.
Ah, therein lies the problem. After all, what do the Rajas do when there are no more tigers to hunt?
I'm sure you'll think of something, Warren.
Dollar for dollar, that has to be the dullest man in Gotham City.
Do you remember earlier when I was saying that I was looking forward to it and expecting it to be so bad it was going to be good?
I don't remember that at all. I think everything prior to the last 22 minutes has left my brain. Who am I?
I sincerely don't know what to say.
Well.
Take a listen to that synopsis. The short and summary, which is sometimes kind of long.
Tell me what happened, please, in this episode of The Terrible Trio.
I still don't know. Okay.
Please.
There are 3 rich guys who like wearing animal masks.
Don't they ever?
And they're so rich that they've just gotten bored. And so they turn to a life of crime.
Uh-huh.
And then one of the guys chloroforms and tries to kill his girlfriend.
That's the end of the episode.
And then Batman catches them all.
That's true. That's right. 3 wealthy bored friends of Bruce Wayne's decide to seek new thrills.
Wealthy bored friends.
Yeah. 3
Are
boring
they friends?
I don't know. I guess they're shooting
Bruce didn't
with
seem
him.
to like them.
Yeah. They decide to seek new thrills by becoming master criminals. As the fox, the shark, and the vulture, the terrible trio pick Gotham clean until they encounter the one person who cannot be bought off. Batman. Oh, well, yes. I did think that was very slightly good joke to do. Like, I'll give you so much money, please. And he's just like, fuck off. I have all of the money. I don't need it. That's what he said to that guy. This episode was bad.
Boy, howdy was it ever.
It started off, they're robbing a guy of something money. I don't know, remember, in his apartment or whatever. And up through them shooting the line out the window to escape, you were like, the art's not so bad. And then it got really bad for the rest of the episode.
It really did. They spent their whole art budget on the first 15 seconds. And I was like, this is going to be fine. And then the girlfriend, whose name I can't even remember.
Rebecca, maybe?
Doesn't even matter.
Yes, Rebecca.
So whatever the girlfriend's name was, she's the worst animated thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's what you said, yeah.
Her eyes were frequently not attached to her face.
You said I really enjoy how her eyes can stay in the same place while her head moves around or something like that. There was a specific shot where they're at the hospital and Bruce is talking to her. She turns to talk to him, and when she tilts her head down, her head scrunches, flattens, becomes shorter. And then she opens her mouth to say her line, and you repeated after it happened, her teeth were just closed the whole time or something. It didn't look like she was talking. And then she looks up at him and her eyelashes become transparent. All in the matter of 3 seconds. And I was like, how many times can we mess up on the shot? Let's go for a new record every shot.
Listener, if you can't guess, this is maybe and if you didn't watch it, this is probably the worst art.
Do you think it's worse than
the worst animated?
The Underdwellers. Do you think it's you think so?
Oh yeah.
I think I think we'd need to rewatch the Underdwellers and compare. I
can't imagine anything being worse than this.
There were I think I said there were attempts to do cool shots that just failed miserably every time. There was Batman standing in front of the final defeated guy, and his theme song plays and his backlit by the moon, and you can tell that was storyboarded as a really cool shot and then executed as not. And the same thing happened when he jumped off of something jumped off a cliff into the air and made a bat symbol silhouette against the moon for one frame before it cut to the next shot. Again, in the storyboard, probably looked pretty cool. It just kept happening. I feel bad for the Alan Burnett, Michael Reeves writing this only slightly, because I think the story isn't very strong either, but the art doesn't do it any favors.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
They are equally bad.
You think so? I think there's an okay story underneath, but I also, like you were saying during the episode, I couldn't tell you really what happened. It was a very simple plot of what the guys wanted to do and what they managed to do, but there could have been a cooler reason or something.
Do you want to try to replot this together? Maybe the two of us can come up with a plot.
Okay. I think you said it. there's 3 rich guys that like to dress up as animals and they want to steal everybody's money, but just because they're bored, because they do everything. They've done all the hang gliding and bungee jumping and what the fuck ever, scuba diving, and they need something to
but it wasn't
get
even
their
that. It wasn't
jimmies off.
It wasn't hang gliding and bungee jumping, extreme sports. It was we've done safaris, we've killed all the animals we can kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We've done all these other boring things and bad things.
So you just hate everybody from the start.
Yeah. I think let's not attempt to figure it out. We figured it out. I liked when they have the opening scene with the 3 of them, and then it fades into a scene of Bruce Wayne and them shooting. And you just are staring at the 3 dudes, And you're like, are we supposed to not think they're the guys in the costume? And I'm like, I think we're supposed to know. Like maybe the smallest child wouldn't pick up on it but they don't do it as a mystery at all. It's just like the next time you see them, they're in the costumes again.
Yeah.
It's, I think this is the third time I've watched this episode.
Should we talk about some positives of it?
Like what?
Batman makes the dumbest faces in any episode.
Is that just because it was funny? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Face. I don't know. How do you explain that?
Big surprise face. Yeah.
Big surprise eyes, jaw dropped about 1.5 feet.
The first one, I think, was when he was chasing them in the Batmobile and they did something. Oh, he shoots a grapple out of the front of the Batmobile onto their car. No, first they open a little door that grenades fall out of.
Yes.
And they all miss him. And then, like you said, Batman says, my turn. And then he drops grenades out the back of the car. And it just goes on an endless loop with the people behind each other. But
if only.
No, he shoots a grappling hook out the front. And then one of the guys shoots the grappling rope with a pistol and it breaks away from the Batmobile. And then, again, like you said, somehow comes ungrappled from their car because of that. Like they should just be trailing a long rope, but instead it goes, oh yeah, the tendons inside the rope caused the thing to unclamp. You know, I don't know. Yeah,
maybe that's how it works.
Batman goes, oh, big face. And then he did that like 3 other times in the episode also.
Oh, and then we have the bit where they're trying to get away from Batman. They throw the money out of the car. And then before the car shows up into scene, you hear somebody say, oh, look, they're throwing money or whatever.
Yeah.
And then about 3 seconds later, the car, because there's a lot of those bad timing pauses. So you're just kind of like looking down the road.
Yeah.
And you wait.
Here it comes.
And then the car comes and there's money being thrown out. And then so Batman's like, oh no, I have to dodge people in the road getting money. So he drives down an alleyway and then out of a building.
It looked I think that was supposed to be what happened, but it looked like from top down, it looked like he ghosted through a building and then out another building. It didn't line up with the background quite right or something. Because I just went, huh? And then it cut to an alleyway that he's somehow losing control in, and the camera was out of focus. And I also went, huh?
Is this the one where he like crashes into a
garbage can?
Kind of trash-ish? I don't know. He's like speeding down an alleyway, and then he's just kind of stopped. And we're like, oh.
This was one of those episodes where things were not scaled properly against each other quite often. When Batman runs into the garbage can is like way too small. And then there was also that moment when Fox guy is writing a check to girlfriend. And when it's on the close-up of his hand writing and tearing the check is like 3 feet long. And then when he hands it to her, it's back to normal check size. And I know there was more. I think
that's
Batman
just before mutant girlfriend walks out of the room trying to be seductive, and instead she kind of is like, she's kind of gelatinous, like Swamp Thing or something.
Good reference. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. You mentioned the multiple characters' movements are just like we talked about this with ACOM a bit, but where there's just too much movement. Like they just keep moving, like they're trying to make it lifelike, but instead they're just like they look like weird little worms or something. And that also happened with, I think it was the shark guy. He's like, they're going to escape Fallbrook's house, Old Man Shotgun's house, and he goes to the window to shoot the grappling thing again. He sprints up to the like balcony door, like real fast, real smooth and fast. And then when he gets there, he flings it open and then like walks in place and slightly, like his character's legs are moving like he's walking normally, but his body only moves like 2 inches out the door. And why did he walk like that? And then he shoots the thing. And it's, again, holding way too long on that angle, taking way too long to do the thing. It's been a while.
Yeah. Dear listener, I'm sorry. Like, this is not. We cannot be as funny as this episode is.
Yeah,
bad.
you kind of just have to watch it.
It's just exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, are we doing any kind of format here? Or are we just gonna like? Is this like a group therapy kind of situation where we're
tell me how you feel about the terrible trio? Well, I think like I don't know. I said we'd been spoiled on too many Dong Yang episodes that like we've just gotten used to a certain standard now. And I was thinking for a while how we were like, I was occasionally apologetic for like, this wasn't meant to be a, bash Batman the Animated Series podcast, but it sort of is one, but only because so many just random episodes are just so bad. Like, why are they so bad? This one obviously in particular is so bad, but it just, I don't know. There were just so many, every single shot had something that you just went like, why? Why did you do it that way? Or the editing sometimes when they're talking to the girlfriend in the cabin, it cuts there. It's a really long held shot on them all sort of surrounding her on the couch, like explaining why they did the stuff. And then it cuts to a close up of her face saying like 2 words and then cuts away to a completely 180 angle over the couch looking at the Fox guy. And it's like, you didn't need to do that shot at all. Why did you, or do it for longer? Maybe, I don't know. It just,
there were just
weird
some
decisions.
Weird choices. There was Batman or Bruce. There was Bruce dressed as Freddy from Scooby-Doo. And like, not in any exaggeration, like white sweater, blue collared shirt underneath. He's Freddy.
He might as well have had an ascot. If he didn't, he might have.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, his face was weird when he's talking to her in the hallway. Why was her dad a painting in the hospital?
Okay, let's talk about that one. Hospital dad. He's only a painting. He's not. There's no movement.
The
at
one
all.
shot where Bruce turns his head over in the pillow is the only time he's animated. Right. Every other shot,
for some reason,
painting.
the shadow indentation in the pillow is the same color as his skin, so it looks like his head has been like glued or like saran wrapped to a pillow.
Yeah. I thought it was that it was like in Saw when he cuts a little jigsaw puzzle out of people's skin after he's like killed them or whatever. I thought that that's what it was like a missing triangle of skin. And then I was like, what? Why? And then it faded into the shot of the guy's ring with a triangle. I'm like, okay, at least they did that, so I knew what the fuck that was. Like, but yeah. They open on it. They open on the hospital scene on a shot of the dad in the bed, fully painting. The whole thing's a painting, and we were just going immediately, oh, what? Huh? What?
Like, he looks so dead. And it's like, it's not just a regular like painted cell. Like, it sincerely looks airbrushed.
Yeah, it's way too detailed compared to the cell animation. And then it cuts to a shot of the daughter like crying on the bedside, and his head is like 3 times the size of her head.
He must be 12 feet tall.
He's a giant.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was supposed to be a perspective thing, but perspective was out the window in this episode too, so who knows.
Many things were out the window.
What's a little dog doing?
Barking at I don't know what.
Nice. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, you know what? Neither do I.
The last.
You got anything to say? Oh, he does.
Oh, well. That's how I feel too, man. What did you like the terrible trio?
That's all he's got to say.
Oh, I guess we'll never know. Oh, what does that mean? You speak his language.
It means, dude. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It was so bad. The art was bad. The story sucked. The music was fine, I guess. The talk of perspective made me remember the shot of Batman on the hang glider thing, and he's coming. Batman just goes to the moon.
Oh yeah, well that too. Yeah, he's sitting. Okay, oh my god. Again, every shot so bad that I keep like, okay, how far back should I go to say this?
Except for the first.
They're pushing the car to the edge of the cliff.
Why are they pushing the car?
Yeah, you made a good point about that.
the trio is going to try to, like, they chloroform the girlfriend. They're going to try to be like, oh, look, she drove off the ledge or whatever. So they're just, for who knows how long, 5 minutes, pushing this car over the edge. And it's like, it's on a snowy road. Like, just
and he managed to convince the other two to still push the car, because they're still protesting, like, hey, man, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, while they're actively doing it, and they're 2 feet away from the cliff. So I don't know.
Yeah, pushing a car up a snowy hill, totally plausible.
Yeah.
And so rather than like drive car to edge, then somehow like push out or whatever, there's like just going to be their footprints.
Yeah.
3 sets of footprints. Yeah. Following the car tires all the way from who knows. Why did they push it so far?
So they get to the edge of that cliff. They somehow, you see below the cliff looking up, so you don't get to see them actually push it, but they somehow all 3 push it hard enough that it flies several feet off the edge of the cliff before heading downward. Yeah. And then the Batwing attaches to it, a line to it, and the car just instantly stops. Like, it's a foot above the ground, and it just stops. It doesn't slow to a halt. It's just like, it's not, you don't even see it go and then stop suddenly. It's just stopped. It is stopped in the next shot. And
there might be a foot of deceleration that we see.
Batman, ejects out of the Batwing into the moon. Like, he goes so long or so high, like, to the moon, Robin. And then he
really does, though. Like, listener, like, you expect if he shot up 100 feet, you would see Batman get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then he would like
pop into
his bat wings or whatever would happen. He's just going smaller and smaller and smaller to the moon, to the point where
it's gone.
We're just watching him get smaller, and you expect to see a little like on the moon, like a little bit of dust.
like a Wile E. Coyote imprint on the moon or something.
But then he opens, then the bat wing things, or the bat whatever hang glider opens up, and suddenly he's like fully visible again.
Yeah, he poofs out of nowhere. He goes real fast toward the camera. But then when the shot of him actually coming at the camera from a distance of 1,000 feet to right at the camera, the width of his face stays about the same as he's coming forward. So it starts out really, really wide and then gets normal size by the time he's... and then he, and then the guy runs back to the cabin and comes out on a snowmobile, and then Batman sees the snowmobile coming at him, and his instinct is to go, put my cape in front of me, now I'll be fine, and then he gets fucking slaughtered
by a snowmobile. Yeah.
Oh, it didn't work. Yeah,
and then his response is, "I'm gonna throw these like bolos. What is it?
Bolas. Yeah,
bolas. He's like, I'm gonna throw these bolas at him, and then he throws them, and you have the sound effect for maybe 15 seconds.
Way too long. Yeah.
And then it shows like him going by it, and it kind of like fades in the background, and then there's another shot, and he's like driving away, and it like wraps around a tree for 3 minutes.
A tree that's way closer to the foreground camera than he is, so Batman really missed bad. Like
real bad.
He took his time throwing it, and then it did nothing. This episode sucks. I hate this.
Let's just stop. Let's just stop now. This isn't even entertaining. I don't think anybody wants to hear this.
No. So keen effects in this episode?
The only one keen effect that I can think of is the skeet shooting scene, because it's like kind of actually surprising. Like they did one thing good. There's a skeet, like a clay pigeon goes up towards, like at a pretty good clip, comes towards the screen. You're kind of like, whoa, and then there's a gunshot and it disappears right at the screen. And it's just, that's done very fluidly. Good job, you guys. Everything else is awful.
I'd say the keen effects for me are the like 4 total shots that didn't suck.
Nice.
There was the old man coming to the doorway being like, stop you guys, before they're like, oh, I thought he was on holiday. When he's standing in the doorway with the shotgun, like, even though it was still a little bad, it was surprisingly like, it could have been animated by a good company or something.
Let's put it this way. If it was in any other episode, you wouldn't have noticed.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why they're keen effects. Batman's usefulness in this episode.
good. I get. Well, good. I don't know.
He stopped the guys.
He stopped the guys, but like 3.
He thought a cape would stop a snowmobile, and he missed with his bola real bad, and he got slammed into an alleyway trash can.
Yep.
See, I can see that sequence on paper. Like if you wrote down what happens in that
storyboards
scene,
have got to be better than the episode.
even just the script, I feel like if you wrote down like Batman is having a high-speed car chase with costumed villains, and they decide they're going to distract a crowd of they're gonna make it so Batman can't keep following them by getting a crowd of people to run into the street by throwing money into the street. And so he has to swerve around them, and he ends up slamming into a wall or something like that. I feel like on paper, that's like, oh, that could look cool. And just like every single shot of like I was watching every bill of the money falling, and it would just every like 5 frames, the money would like teleport to a different place. Like I was just imagining that the company, the Jade Animation, just getting that storyboard or whatever and just being like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, please don't make me do this. We can't do this, or whatever. Like try and give him the most difficult sounding longest time to draw things.
Well, what was the thing that we said we were gonna rate?
His little stick pen.
Oh, the fucking! You can talk about the stick pen.
When they knock out the old man before he becomes a painting in the hospital, what I thought was like a button off his shirt.
It's like an ascot decoration.
Okay, because I thought it was like. Well, I guess it is essentially what I was thinking was it was like the shirt, shirt equivalent of a cufflink, because it like had the thing that stabs through it and like rotates to keep it there. But when he drops it on the ground, that's the dimensions will make it look like that. And yes, flip it and keep it. I'm gonna keep this. And then when it dumps out on the floor, it's like way longer, way pointier, and she's like, "Oh, my father's stick pen or whatever." What the fuck is a stick pen? There's a lot of that in this. A lot of like wording or references or whatever that are so old timey. Like the way that they're talking, they call each other like old man and stuff like that. Yeah. And he also said the guy like, well, I mean, I know this is supposed to be outdated and bad and racist and or whatever, but the dogs don't like this episode either. But when they're talking about like, oh, why are you so chummy with the help, Bruce, or whatever? Like, don't you know? Like obviously they're supposed to, because they're being painted as bad guys. But Max, my goodness!
Oh, here it is.
There's a guy in a shark costume.
Hi, Rose.
What caused this? Nothing. Oh. So I'll give Batman a solid 3 stick pens out of 10. I beat you to it.
Yeah, nice. Okay, I'm going to give him 3 paintings of an oversized dead man out of 10.
Nice. The object from the episode, of course.
Yes.
Books are hip hop.
Fucking neither. Who cares?
Yeah, it's not.
A rock.
It does not hit
single solitary rock in my driveway.
The Booker hip hopometer did not quiver.
No.
whatsoever.
No. Let's not insult
so we're putting this on the bottom 10 for
yes!
sure. We haven't done that in so long.
Number
you said
1.
The underdwellers can never be. Are we changing that now? I really do think the Underdwellers was worse than this, but a lot of people for some reason really love the Underdwellers, and I've never heard anyone say anything good about this episode.
I think the Underdwellers. What was the? I mean, it was. We've at least had laughs. We've had so many.
Okay.
You know, like
we laughed at. Yeah, the Underdwellers had the shot of like the lady police officer screamed and her eyeballs were bat signals. and we laughed. We fucking lost it at that, and a couple other shots in that episode where we were just losing our minds at how bad it was. This one didn't even have that like laughably fun moments to it.
No, it was just the whole thing was, oh my God, their faces. Oh my God, the animation. Oh my God,
that's bad.
What's going on here?
Bad. Yeah, yeah. And when you were like, we were like halfway through or not even. You're like, Jamie, I don't know how I'm going to describe what happens in this episode.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
I think this is worse than Underdwellers by a long shot.
Well, then I'll add it as number 12. The lowest, the terrible fucking episode. It's to 12 now with a 7. Well, yes. No, just make it 7-12.
Okay.
Why is there a 1 there?
Because I wanted to make 12.
I see.
Yeah. Welcome to the bottom of the bottom. You are 2 places beyond our bottom 10.
I'm going to read the listener because we haven't done this for quite a while. It's been a while since we put. So from the top down, and this is in no. This is in not. Baby, put your speakers up. It's from the top down. This is not in any particular order except for the bottom 2. So Prophecy of Doom, that was the Nostromos planets, paper mache planets. I'm trying to remember what these are. I've got Batman in my basement.
In my basement.
Speaks for itself. The Last Laugh, which was the Captain Clown episode, Ted's 9th favorite episode. The Clock King, which I didn't expect to put on this list until we watched it and I went, oh yeah, that was not very good. Be a Clown, which was Jordan Hill being taller than a truck.
Which like
birthday.
Like looking at these now and reliving them and looking at like specifically Terrible Trio, I'm like, this is a separate list.
Yeah, they're not as bad.
I'd watch Be a Clown 12 times in a row before I would willingly watch the Terrible Trio again.
Joker in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad. This is off. Anyway, sorry. Please continue.
We're halfway through the Cat in the Claw Part 2. Which was, I think that was only made the list because it was just animated pretty poorly. There wasn't really much bad about it otherwise.
Yeah.
There's a fire hand at the end. It's Never Too Late, which I think also started the Batman's usefulness because it was like an evidence of, if Batman wasn't even there, the same thing would happen.
Yeah.
Mad as a Hatter, which you were just so mad
awful.
about. Cat Scratch Fever. Shooting a perfect circle in the ice and the kiss off you dumb clucks. Day of the Samurai, also animated by the same people, maybe. Underdwellers and Terrible Trio. Yeah. A bunch of bad stuff.
Yep.
But there's only 12 episodes on here out of the 86 episodes, so it's not too bad. I don't think we'll be adding more to this, but you never know.
Yeah.
When we thought we were out of the bad stuff,
Yep. Nope.
I realized also last time that we did not put the lost episode. We did not talk about if it was going to go on the top 10. Like we just didn't even address it. But I think we have to make like a separate list for video games now.
Okay.
So I guess it by default takes the number 1 spot because I think we're also going to watch some other
video game content,
video game cutscenes at some point. But anyway, we're going to go do the mail, and then we're going to come back, and I'll tell Brian the name of the next episode. And I'll just say now, for the listener that skips the mail, we're going to be taking a week break. There's no episode next week because the upcoming episode will have Joe as a guest.
You wanted
to go
him?
around his schedule.
He's coming back.
He's coming back, baby. Returning the Joe. But you gotta wait for him. It'll be worth it, I promise. Anyway, here's the mail and stuff. Do you need to do dog things while I play this song?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. That yacht. That one small extra yacht put it over.
We drop what we drop. Our weekly yacht. Oh yeah, those. Into the comment box. There sure was a lot. Now Jamie's mad. Too bad we're all. At least I am. Just Dylan Pollock.
Wow. I bet you couldn't even hear if I yelled first on
I heard
time
it.
or not.
but I don't know if the audience did, the listener.
Oh.
Probably
Was
not.
it close?
I was a little bit close. I also hope that everyone loved the fact that I just covered up Kimmy completely by making Max dog noises that whole time. I think they like that a lot. It's just how I feel right now, you know?
Look, if there's no other saving grace to this episode, at least we had the dogs going nuts for who knows what reason.
They could sense a feeling in the air.
They're like, we got to lighten the mood.
Yeah. If you would like to reach out, like the fire hand at the end of the Cat in the Claw Part 2, you can email batwagonpod@gmail.com.
Do that.
Please keep voice messages under 1 minute, one per person, just for the length of the show. And you can and should also leave us a comment on today's episode on the Podtower YouTube channel. But if you send in mail or leave a comment, please do not spoil anything past this episode for Brother Broderick.
That's me.
That's Brian. This is from Nick Sorensen. I've been a bit of a Sega nerd when it comes to wanting to learn as much as I can about all their older games and gaming systems from the 90s, and if you're ever looking for a real oddity in the Sega CD library of games, then I'd have to give a shout out to Desert Bus, a mini game from a canceled Sega CD titled Penn and Teller's Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah, say it's Penn and Teller's game.
You knew about this, okay.
Oh, yeah. They have competitions about this.
Yeah, so it says, picture this. The entire game is a driving simulator where you have to drive a bus from Arizona to Las Vegas in real time at only 45 miles per hour, only you can't pause the game and you have to keep the bus constantly in the center or it'll veer off the road and have to be towed all the way back. And it's been said to take 8 hours to actually complete. I'm not kidding, this almost would have been an official thing that kids would have been playing on their Sega CDs had the game been released. And nowadays there's a whole charity event that's centered around seeing how far people can beat it. I still don't know whether Penn and Teller should be considered madmen or geniuses for coming up with this crazy idea, but it's nice to know that it's made a sort of legacy for itself these days as far as helping a noble cause. They linked a YouTube video that is 8 hours long, so someone must have done it, I guess. Or you just edited around it. I don't know. I'm out
People
around
do
mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the trick there that Nick touched on, is that the bus is like out of alignment, and so it's not, you can't just like sit there and press on the gas pedal. It always veers off the road.
I scrubbed through some of it, and I saw like sometimes it's at night too, and like you're only using the headlights to stay on the road, and the road will like swerve and stuff, and I can't imagine getting like 7 hours into it and then fucking up like Jesus Christ. M and Drew 1 lost episode. Greetings, rogues. I'm almost not really sorry to say I never played this gem. I guess I couldn't. I never had a system it could play on, but really I refused in protest over the removal of the critical penguin battle with the secret origin of Mr. Wing. This obviously was a crime against fandom. I can only hope that one day our AI overlords will restore this wonderful classic to canon.
I mean, we'll just sit here and hope.
Batman will fight someone named Owl Man eventually, so we can just pretend that it's the lost part of the lost episode.
Owl Man?
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
Pedro Enrique, the return / episodes catch up. Hello, James and Brian. Yes, it's me, the Brazilian blip on your analytics, Pedro. I'm back this week. Apologies for not being able to send weekly messages. I've been very busy this semester in college. I'm now teaching uninterested teenagers about theater. It's frustrating and it takes up a lot of my days. Yeah, we understand.
We do.
Anyways, I'm going to use this week's message to catch up on everything I've missed. I'll try to be quick. Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Batgirl returns. Here's my reaction to the dream sequence. Yikes, disgusting. God, no, make it stop. Fun episode, but please never make me think about Bruce and Barbara together ever again. Anybody who reads comics knows Bruce and Dick should belong together. So Barbara and Dick belong together. I love Dick. I'd take Dick any time of the week. Lock up. I bet Bolton would be the type of guy that would have a picture of himself in a truck while wearing shades and a certain red hat saying, "Make Gotham great again," like his Facebook profile picture. My jaw dropped when he actually blamed the liberal media in the episode. Great episode,
Same.
Aged well. Fun fact, according to Bolton, Jack Ryder is fake news. Deep freeze. At last, the return of everyone's favorite, Carl Rossum. I missed that silly, silly voice, but seriously, another great Mr. Freeze episode with another sad ending. It's always great to hear Michael Ansara on btas. The lost episode, hey, Clayface is alive, yay, and he's dead again. Batman doesn't kill except if it's Clayface, then he will absolutely fuck him up. The terrible trio. I don't know what to say. I just don't care about these guys. Terrible trio indeed. What a team of losers. Why can't they just do a bunch of coke like every other rich person? So that's it for this week. I hope I have time to send one next week. Stay yoppy. Thank you.
Nice, Pedro. Good luck with your theater endeavors.
Yeah. This is from Scarlowy1. Jump on the mechanic wagon. Jump on the mechanic wagon game, I see.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello, listener, and welcome to Jump on the Mechanic Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about the 1994 video game, Can Earl Fix It? For the SNES. In each level, the Batmobile comes into the garage with a variety of problems. You must complete a series of minigames to repair each part of the Batmobile.
I would play this.
Such as pressing buttons at the right time to put on the tires or matching colored wires to fix the onboard computer. After fixing all the damage, you get a score based on how quickly you complete each task. The game got neutral to negative reviews, such as, this game is boring, who is Earl, and too woke. Anyway, see you next week. If you have time, same channel.
Who's Earl and too woke? Very good, very good. Thank you.
Also, this is just the mini games from Mario Party. I think it would be regarded a little bit higher than that. So
the game itself is a mini game, yeah. Dylan Pollock, I feel like I sound like I'm drunkenly slurring my words. Maybe I just needed some help to get through the episode. Yes, I did send this email at 9:43 a.m. So I assume this is about the Terrible Trio.
It's time for the Thoughts of the Week from Dylan Pollock on the Terrible Trio, or, oh shit, they needed that today. They need the script today. Stall them for 10 minutes. Stall them. I'll get it. So let's talk about, has there ever been a more blatant villain than Warren? Quote, you know how he feels about the servants? Gross. Warren also calls Bruce a superior animal. Blech. Also, another ridiculous Warren moment when he talks to Becky and he goes, you know, Becky, how your father is currently unconscious in a hospital? Perhaps being away from him would be the best possible thing. They justify it by saying, it's only an hour away, but like, nobody's doing that in that scenario. One good line that stands out in this terrible episode is Warren going, I'll get justice, the best that money can buy. And I was like, okay. That feels more straight from the guys who wrote Lock Up than from the rest of this episode. Another thing, very random, they always show people being chloroformed in movies and shows as this instant easy knockout, but chloroform has to be inhaled for 5 minutes to knock someone out, and it's really dangerous for your liver and kidneys. I know I sound like a crazy serial killer right now, but I had to do a school project on John Wayne Gacy once, and always remembered how ridiculous it made the fictional version seem afterwards. Anyway, now that we're through that, let's lighten this up with James's favorite part, the question of the week.
Yes!
What is the best color of Gatorade? Not flavor, color. There are no flavors. There are only colors.
Truth. Blue.
Yeah, well, the light blue. The what is it called? Like crystal something blue. Yeah. Blue. That's the answer.
That's amazing.
I didn't know that about chloroform. Yeah.
Well, I guess I got to make a return on Amazon.
This isn't going to work after all. To shut my dogs up.
No! I was going to use it on you the next time you were here.
Oh, yeah. That makes more sense.
For making me watch episodes like this.
Yeah, after it's a rating system we have where after each episode I slowly turn toward Brian in terror and hope he doesn't have the chloroform out. Just waiting for me.
Slowly raises a rag and a bottle into frame.
Well, Jamie, this is going on the bottom 7 welve. Hello, listener. This is future editing James popping in. Jordan Blumen sent in a voice message. It wasn't late. We were recording early. He was on time, but I want to make sure it gets into the podcast. And I asked Brian to join me for this, but we couldn't make it work timing wise between our schedules. So he just asked me to do this without him and to impersonate him like I was doing both reactions to. So I'm going to go ahead and play the voice message here for you now. This is from Jordan Blumen, GCN Musical Minute Terrible Trio.
You're listening to GCN, Gotham City News. I'm Jack Ryder.
And I'm Summer Gleason.
Tonight's top story, Oh, wow. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. Usually the late shift here at GCN is a bit more exciting. I'm sorry, where was I?
Tonight's top story is...
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Tonight's top story.
You're still in the air?
Batman caught 3 assholes, and at least one of them went to prison.
3 assholes, you say?
Good job, Batman. Thank you.
Yeah, good job, Batman. Now over to the music. I loved the rare full use of the Batman theme during the final battle. Doesn't happen very often. Good to hear. Never apologize for loving your fandom and try to stay optimistic.
Thank you, I will. What do you think about that, Brian? Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Anyone else listening, that if you didn't hear your voice message during this part, it's because I'll play it next time. Don't worry, or whatever. I'll read it if you sent in mail. You know what I'm trying to say. And then also, there was something else I was gonna say. Oh, Brian promised that he's going to listen to this episode of the podcast, Jordan, so he will hear that, even though he's not here right now. Okay, back to the actual episode. Thank you. All right, let's go to comments on last episode, which was Jump on the Bat-Wagon episode 81, the lost episode, or Mega CD. Let's do.
I've already started saying that unironically in my household.
Let's do.
Cooper and I were playing some Borderlands, and it's like, you want to play? Yeah, you want to play? Yeah, man, let's do.
Let's do. We'll make it a thing. We're making so many things with this podcast.
We are.
Like fetch. This is from Scarface Nick. No, Snakeface Nick. Is this a Scarface Nate alternate account? Who knows? Ah, yes, the Terrible Trio. What a more fitting episode name. Being one of Bruce Timm's most hated episodes, I didn't do Trivs at all. Holy shit!
Doesn't matter. Keep going.
We'll do post mail Trivs.
Wait, do you want to just cut it in?
No, we're doing this differently this time. We're doing post mail Trivs. Okay? Being one of Bruce Timm's most hated episodes, I'd once more like to agree. From animation errors and plot convenience, it just melted my brain. I don't know how to do the podcast anymore. I'm sorry. The villains that aren't worth remembering. This is an episode I gladly skip during rewatches. Yeah, that makes total sense. Charles Motosierra, regarding Terrible Trio, or Batman versus some regular guys, or are they? Could it be that Batman fighting other rich jerks who wear masks was the precedent for DCAU introduction for the Court of Owls? It wasn't what?
Fuck! Just the things we didn't talk about. Now they're all coming back. Some kind of like PTSD response.
Yeah.
The line where Robin like goes down to the dock and he's like, the costume party's over, and you're like, Robin, you're wearing a fucking costume.
That was an especially poorly animated sequence also. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
When Batman's dragging Robin back to the dock or whatever, he just inexplicably has lips. Like Robin just has drawn on lips, which he normally wouldn't. I don't know. It was weird. The episode is better than I remember, especially the second half. As always, Batman is compassionate. Bruce Timm gets away with sneaky, horny stuff, yada, yada, yada. How the hell can those guys see stuff wearing those masks? What the fuck? I find Fox's characterization ironic. Fun fact, the Terrible Trio are in fact obscure Silver Age comic villains. They also appear in The Batman 2004 and Batman Brave and the Bold. They equally kind of suck in those shows. Finally, does the Joker at least have madness to justify his crimes? He's definitely a generically crazy person, but he seems always aware of reality. Yeah, I didn't buy that at all about them being worse than the Joker when Batman said that. I was like, no, I don't think so. Don't think so. Juan Pedro, Vulture and Rhino are some of my favorite Batman villains, not to be confused with the Spider-Man villains Vulture and Rhino. Yeah. Wishbone, Banana Man and his counterpart Banana Boy comprise one of the most mysterious enigmas in all the Bat-Wagon podcast universe. Yes. Just what does Banana Man think is okay? The podcast itself, the episode, some third thing? Where does he disappear to? And what does the enigmatic Banana Boy have to do with all this? It really makes you think. All I know is that the writers keep knocking it out of the park with this puzzling plot thread, and I can't wait for the thrilling finale. Banana Boy says okay.
Oh, okay.
Serum Lake, my ears are burning. I think that's in reference to the clips from the video game that I used. I couldn't have made it any better. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, we're also making some Serum Lake references. Or at least
that's
when you were
true.
talking
That's
about
true.
the serum, I was just like Serum Lake.
Serum Lake. That could be what it is. That's probably what it is. Ian Thompson. Okay, the terrible trio. Warren has a convenient mountain cabin filled with easily accessed chloroform, heavily blunt metal instruments, way too easily influenced co-conspirators, a getaway snowmobile, and a nearby body-disposing gorge. He also immediately jumped to murder as the only way to solve the problem of my girlfriend promises she won't tell anybody and I'm a bad fox man. Rebecca is obviously not the first person brought to things just aren't working out anymore cabin. Ugh, eat the rich. Yeah. I think we had similar thoughts.
We forgot that in the first 30 seconds, the Fox dude like conveniently has a point remote control at it blows up remote control.
There was dynamite like attached to the
I know, but he's just like, well, how about this? Kaboom. How about that? Like, what are the chances that he's like, we're going to have to blow up, the safe? Yeah. Sure. This, like, dock? Maybe.
He also just had a remote for everything. He had a remote that shot a, like, drone grappling hook thing into the window that then shot a hook down to perfectly into the thing. He also, I was noticing that the amount of dynamite attached to the dock was around the same amount of dynamite, I think, that the Christmas with the Joker goons attached to a bridge that blew up, like the whole bridge. And then this guy just blew up, like, Robin's standing like 2 feet away and he just jumps into the water and he's fine. So,
just a corner of the dock. Yeah. It's a corner of the dock amount of dynamite.
It works, whatever it needs to blow up. Batgirl Fangirl. Sorry, Brian. I feel like I should apologize for the terrible trio, even though I had nothing to do with its creation. I must admit that I've been so looking forward to you seeing this one. Makes you want to rewatch the Sewer King or a Penguin episode, huh?
Yeah.
So where do I start? Yep. Poor Fallbrook. That's the old guy. He's been turned into a badly rendered matte painting. So sad. At least they altered it slightly on the Blu-ray. On DVD, he looks so purple. Oh. Interesting. I would have to see. Inconsistent animation, characters standing around waiting for things to happen, even on the back of a moving snowmobile. When Shark puts down his bag in front of the safe at the start, it doesn't even touch the ground. I did not notice that, but it was a lot to keep up with. My favorite part is where Batman ejects from the Batwing, explodes into a bat glider, then ditches it midair to plummet to Earth head first, then miraculously lands on his feet to gently plant Shark's head into the snow. Yeah, I guess we didn't even think about that he like didn't need that at all. Like why did he have the glider to just lose? Yeah, he just takes it
why
off.
Did this episode?
We didn't need this at all. Yeah, there could have been 84 episodes. It would have been fine. I feel so bad for the team that worked tirelessly on this episode to receive this in return from the probably inexperienced overseas animation studio. It would be hilarious after what I've wrote that you put this one on your top 10. No, not a chance.
Quite the opposite, my friend.
Keen podcast, guys. 5 stars and 5 inconsistent stick pens. Stick pens? Let's move on. Oh, man.
Oh, I'm glad that everybody's in agreement on this one.
Jungi Fulmer. It's been a while since I commented, but I just wanted to say no matter how off track the tangents get, no matter the quality of the DCAU episode itself, and no matter if it is an official episode, like the cutscene episode, James and Brian never disappoint. As the old parable goes, continue to be in a state of yoppiness. Thank you. Thanks for that.
That's really sweet. Thank you.
Dylan Pollock, I can't read. Sorry. Dylan says good stuff, but I can never read it because he always sends in messages. Just put them all together. Wency 209.
Well, then I can't hear him. Jamie,
I'm
come
sorry.
on.
I'll read you this one. He gets an extra every once in a while. LOL. Well, no matter how much Brian says to not listen to the podcast, if you guys spend the first 2 minutes directly addressing me, then I'm not going to stop listening. If James and Brian have many listeners, I am one of them. If James and Brian have one listener, it is me. If James and Brian have no listeners, I am dead. We do fully intend on doing Jingle Jangle all the way, as long as that means jingle all the way. It does. Jim Jam and Brick, you're welcome anytime for any movie. Any movie, you say?
Oh.
That's a deadly offer.
But it's what we got to agree on it, Jamie.
Yeah, you and I had to come up with the worst movie. Movies to never watch before you die. Movies to watch and then die.
The Terrible Trio.
Yeah, on 3 times in a row. Wednesday 209. Oh boy, I can't wait to watch 2 grown men watch cutscenes from a video game console from over 30 years ago. Just another Friday. Yep, me too. Lenola Cola, I have to know, can the Terrible Trio try what the Dynamic Duo don't? It's an attempt at the Sega does what Nintendo don't add. Okay. And last first is Mark Aquino, of course. This is from last week because they thought that it was going to be this. Folks, I got to say, we've had a run of episodes lately that ranged from fairly decent to pretty good. So it was only a matter of time until something came along to poo-poo on our parade, because here come the Terrible Trio. Apparently, Bruce Timm himself considers this to be the worst episode in all of BTAS, and having watched it, yeah, it's pretty bad.
I think we agree.
Yeah, all I'll say is congrats, Sewer King. You're no longer the worst villain this series has ever had, as the titular Terrible Trio themselves are some of the dumbest villains we've seen on the show. They were so insufferable to watch, in my opinion, that I wanted Warren Lawford, a.k.a. the Fox, to have to share his prison cell at the end with Lyle Bolton from the episode Lockup, who compared... Yeah, what was that ending? He just go, oh, there's a guy in here.
And he snarled
and
at
he
you.
he made a face. Who compared to them may as well be Moriarty of Sherlock's Holmes fame. I don't like to encourage violence, especially because of how deplorable somebody like Bolton is, but I'd pay good money to see him beat the snot out of that unbearable piece of crap. As for the animation, well, I had been wishing for an episode where the animation wasn't done by Dong Yang. I must have wished on a monkey's paw, because holy hell, God almighty, Jesus, tap dancing Christ, the animation in this episode was fucking abysmal. I had almost forgotten how bad the animation could be in the past, given how it was been consistently solid post Mask of the Phantasm. But here, my God, I think I owe Dong Yang an apology. Interesting voice cast in this one, though, which we also didn't do. Damn it, James. Fucking suck. I can't do this anymore. This episode broke me. 2 of the Terrible Trio were voiced by Bill Mummy, best known as Will Robinson in the classic TV show Lost in Space. Yes.
Okay.
That was going to be a thing I was going to tell you. And Peter Scolari, rest in peace, the dude from Bosom Buddies that isn't Tom Hanks. Okay. Anywho, I don't want to talk about this episode anymore. Yeah, me neither. It makes me angrier the more I think about it. I want to think about happy things. Birds singing in trees, sitting by a peaceful lake, the person you love staring lovingly at you and you at them, a warm but not too warm summer's day. Do any of these things have anything to do with this episode, or BTAS for that matter? Of course not, but those things can make a person happy, whereas this episode made me quite the opposite.
Yeah,
Boss
Mark,
Big.
well done. That's actually, I'm like, yeah, okay, nice, like warm
thank
but
you,
not too
thank
warm
you.
summer day. That sounds great. Yeah,
we'll go outside after this. Boss Biggest Bear Hugs, the #1 podcast host in this here multiverse of ours, Juniper Fields and Billy Bark Bark.
Bark Bark, as
Bark
seen in
Bark,
today's
dead
episode.
dogs. By the time this episode comes out, the Flash movie will be finally out, and while I'm not expecting any connections or Easter eggs to the DCAU, I just want this movie to be good. I mean, everyone who has seen it already is hyping it up like the second coming of Christ, so we'll see. But I'll probably just see the new Pixar movie instead. If there's one thing that we can all count on, though, it's that Bri will be seeing neither, because he stopped watching movies after they became talkies. Zing! Till next week, Smoke Bar.
To be fair, I did just watch the new Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah, you did, yeah. Which I haven't even seen yet.
See, I'm ahead of, I hear that, Mark? I'm ahead of Jamie on something.
All right, welcome to Post-Mail Trivs. We got a cast real quick. We got Kevin Conroy as Batman, Lauren Lester as Robin. We got Hector Elizondo as Fallbrook. He played Joe in the Princess Diaries movies, who was the head of security who falls in love with the Queen.
Never saw him.
You haven't seen those? He's the voice of Commissioner Gordon in the Lego Batman movie, which I was not aware of. He voices Wan Shi Tong in Avatar, which was the giant owl that guards the library.
Oh.
It was, this was the old man in this episode. He's also known for Pretty Woman, Beverly Hills Cop 3, and a few other things. He'll be back for several other roles.
Sweet.
David Joliffe as the Vulture. This was his only DCAU credit, and he's only had 20 other acting credits, almost all additional voices or otherwise background characters. Christine Hage as Rebecca Fallbrook. one of 2 DCAU credits, and we won't get to the other one for a very, very long time. Only had 41 other acting credits, including 3 episodes of Law & Order, and nothing else interesting. Do you want to guess how Christine is spelled? You won't. KHRYSTYNE.
I think she was born in Los Angeles.
Yeah, you've made this joke before, yeah. Laurie Johnson as Nurse. She played Beatrice on the TV show Mom, which I've never watched. And I guess a character named Ma Murder on Batman the Brave and the Bold. Bill Mumy as the Fox. This is his only DCAU credit. He has several voices on Bravest Warriors. Have you watched Bravest Warriors cartoon? Nope. You need to watch that. You would like it.
She was born in Santa Clara, California.
Okay, pretty close. There you go. Christine Haje. He's Dr. Brainchild on Ren and Stimpy. He is Lanier on Babylon 5, which I'm not really familiar with, but it was a big credit. And then, of course, Will Robinson in the original 60s Lost in Space TV show. Mm-hmm. And then Bill Scolari as the Shark. He was previously the zoo security guard in Moon of the Wolf, who got thrown in the water, and then Batman saved him, and the camera lingered on it for way too long. This is his only other DCAU credit. And he plays Brad in Duckman Private Dick.
Of course, there it is.
Let's blast through the Trivs. There are a few times when Warren's eyebrows change from black to orange. Why, I'm not surprised. When Warren is about to chloroform Rebecca, she slaps his hand away. In the next shot, there's no bottle of chloroform in Warren's hand, but in the shot after that, he has it again. I'm not surprised. There's a lot of squirrels throwing nuts at your roof there.
I think it's actually exactly what it is.
When Bruce enters Sheldon's room at the hospital, he turns his head over to see an imprint on his face. Before he came in, however, Sheldon's head was already in this position. I'm not surprised. While in the hospital, Sheldon is drawn as part of the background, yeah, and conspicuously different.
Is there any Triv that's not the art is fucked up?
Soon. When Lawford, Lydecker, and Hardwick are bragging about their accomplishments during the skeet shooting match, fraternity rings can be seen on the right hands of both Lydecker and Hardwick. A moment later, the 3 of them place their hands on top of each other in a close-up shot. Only Lawford's hand has a ring on it. I'm not surprised. After his first encounter with the terrible trio, Bruce Wayne describes their masks as depicting predators of land, sea, and air. The newspaper depictions of the criminals, however, labels
a vulture
the one in the
isn't a predator.
The vulture is a scavenger. There you go. Dick didn't have a Band-Aid. Okay, listen to how this one is written. I read this like 6 times. I don't know what the fuck it is saying. This is from the DCAU wiki verbatim. Dick didn't have a Band-Aid or a cast on his arm to recover the injuries from the earlier accident as Robin did in the beginning as he did later on in this episode. Let me try this again. Let me try to read it like a normal person. It still doesn't work. Dick didn't have a Band-Aid or a cast on his arm to recover the injuries from the earlier accident as Robin did in the beginning as he did later on in this episode. What is it? What does it mean?
I get the gist of it.
I think I'm picking the idea out of there, yeah. 2 more. Despite Bruce Wayne's hatred for guns, he's shown in the skeet shooting scene to be quite proficient with them. His collection of antique firearms was shown in The Underdwellers, the other bad one. This is the one where he has guns. And then Bruce Timm considers this to possibly be the worst episode of the DC animated universe. So not just btas, just everything, all of it. So you quite possibly have already passed the worst thing, yeah.
It would be very, 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 very hard to make anything worse than this, because any worse, and it would be the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. Well, and yeah.
This is right at that peak of like, if comedy is this end of the V, and like, I don't know, artistry is this end, like, you just... It's at the very bottom of this trough.
I get what you're saying. I think it's also just going to be interesting to see if we have this now as the new standard for bad. If like anything else can ever make the bottom, 7 wealth. Who knows?
I think something could make the list, but it won't come anywhere near this.
I think
it's like saying like Underdwellers, not nearly as bad as this.
I think there's like 4 total episodes in the future that are animated by this same company, but I don't think any of them are as bad like collectively as this episode. I know when I looked at the titles of those episodes, I went like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because I've long considered them to not be as visually appealing, but they're not like this one where every shot you're going, oh, why, what, why is he a painting or whatever.
To be fair, I probably missed a solid quarter of the dialogue because you and I were just going, so I didn't know the girl's name, and I don't care.
It's Christine.
Yeah.
Okay, the next episode, Brian, is called Showdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Joe's gonna be here, so you know it's got Ra's al Ghul. What happens?
It's gonna be a fight between Batman and Ra's al Ghul.
Incorrect.
No, that's right.
No.
Oh, Robin?
No. There is a showdown between Ra's al Ghul and someone, but it's neither of those people.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah, you'll get to see with Joe.
Hooray.
In 2 weeks, because this episode
we're gonna need to
melted
recover.
us. Yeah, this episode broke our brains, and we need to come back fresh with Joe.
Fresh with Joe.
If you want to,
every Wednesday.
Fresh with Joe. If you want to hear more discussion about this episode,
you don't.
I don't know why you would, but check out the DCAU review and Timm Talk podcast. I'm pretty sure DCAU review just covered this a couple weeks ago. Also available on the Podtower YouTube channel, just like this podcast. Thank you to Kimmy, Cooney, Phoenix, Viltsoon, of course, you, the listener, for all our musical themes. You, Brian. Please subscribe to the Watchtower Database YouTube channel for DC Animated Universe videos on a regular basis, and subscribe to the Podtower for all new DCAU podcasts every week, because I assume that DCAU Review will have an episode, even though we won't next week. Leave us a like over there on today's episode to help spread us around the interwebs, and please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or whatever the hell you're listening to this on. You may hear your review read on the show. New episodes of the podcast are released every Friday, or most Fridays anyway, as well as your favorite podcast feed on watchtowerdatabase.com. Let's get the fuck out of here, Brian.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Listener, you're a champion. Don't ever watch this episode.
I should have been just looping that constantly.
The whole time.
Let's go, Fox. You've raided your last chicken coop.
Wait a minute. We can make a deal. $1 million to let me go. 10 million. Think about it. Buys a lot of batarangs.
Your money's no good here.
Okay, fine. Go ahead. Take me in, hero. I've got every judge in town in my pocket. You'll see. I'll get justice. The best that money can buy.